Hi boys and girls, welcome to Everyday Math Lesson 11.8, Multiplication, Division, Fact Families. The materials that you'll need today, pencil, notebook, math journal, and your template. Let's get started. The first thing that we're going to do is go over our math boxes from the previous lesson. So if you can open up your math journal to page 281. If you're noticing that you have any mistakes, please fix those with your pencil and eraser. So for our first question, there are 5 nests with 3 eggs in each. How many eggs in all? You should have filled out your diagram. So it looks like this: 5 times 3 equals 15 for a total of 15 eggs. For question 2, Maria has 9 pairs of shoes in her closet. How many shoes does she have in all? So a pair means 2. So I made my array with a 9 by 2. And so I have 2 times 9 equals 18. For question 3, you're solving each of these problems. So we know that 65 equals 24 plus 41, 33 plus 12 equals 45, 67 equals 52 plus 15, and 16 plus 51 also equals 67. For question 4, count by thousands. Fill in the circle next to the best answer. So you should have had choice C, 3,324. For question 5, draw a rectangle, make 2 sides 3 inches long, and make the other 2 sides 2 inches long. So you can see that my shorter side is about 2 inches long, and then my longer side is about 3 inches long. So I'm looking right here at these bottom numbers. So if you want to double check to make sure that yours matches before moving on. For question 6, complete the table. So we have 20 times 2, which equals 40. Then I have 60 I needed to divide by 2. So 60 divided by 2 is 30. 40 times 2 is 80. And then you can make up one on your own. So I have 50 times 2, which equals 100. All right, the next part of our lesson, if you could use either a whiteboard or notebook and pencil. If the speed is too fast, pause as often as needed. Can you solve these first 2 problems? Press pause and then play when you're ready to check. And we know whenever we're multiplying a number by 0, our answer is going to be 0. So 9 times 0 equals 0. Whenever we're multiplying by 1, our answer is going to be that other number. So 4 times 1 equals 4. Here's 2 more. Press pause and play when you're ready to check. 4 times 10 equals 40. 6 times 10 equals 60. And 2 final ones. So when we're multiplying by 2, we're doubling. So I can think 8 plus 8, or 8 times 2 to equal 16. And then 3 times 5, I could either count by 3s or I could count by 5s for a total of 15. Tennis balls are sold 3 balls per can. I bought 5 cans. How many total tennis balls do I have? Press pause and then play when you're ready to check. So for this one, I'm thinking 5 times 3. I made an array on the side. I also could count by 5s 3 times to get my total of 15. So I should have 15 tennis balls. So tennis balls again are sold 3 balls per can. This time I have 12 total tennis balls. So how many cans do I have? Press pause and play when you're ready to check. So I'm starting with 12, but this time I'm dividing by 3. So I made an array of my 12 split into 3 equal groups. I could also count by 3s until I reach 12, and I could see how many 3s does it take me to get to 12. So my answer would be 4. For this next part, if you can put your notebook or your whiteboard to the side and open up your math journal to page 282. We'll start with that page first. 282 looks like this, where we are working with some multiplication, division, fact families. So this first one, they gave us the numbers 2, 5, and 10. So we have 5 times 2 equals 10. You would do the turnaround fact. And then we have 10 divided by 2 equals 5. And then for this next one, you're again going to start with 10, but you'll divide 10 divided by 5 to get your answer. Can you press pause and try solving this whole page, and then press play when you're ready to check? If you're having some trouble, check back in a little bit earlier and then you can pause to finish the page. All right, so for this first one, we needed to finish doing 2 times 5 equals 10, and then 10 divided by 5 equals 2. For number 2, for our first two, you could have had them flip-flopped, but I have 3 times 4 equals 12, and then 4 times 3 equals 12. And then I need to make sure that I'm starting with 12 when I'm dividing. So 12 divided by 3 equals 4, and 12 divided by 4 equals 3. For question 3, we have 3, 7, and 21. So you should have had 3 times 7 equals 21, 7 times 3 equals 21, and then make sure both of your division ones are starting with 21, but you would have had 21 divided by 3 equals 7, and 21 divided by 7 equals 3. For question 4, we have 5, 8, and 40 for the following fact families. 5 times 8 equals 40, 8 times 5 equals 40, 40 divided by 5 equals 8, and 40 divided by 8 equals 5. For number 5, we have 6 times 9 equals 54, 9 times 6 equals 54, 54 divided by 9 equals 6, and 54 divided by 6 equals 9. And for the last one, we have 4 times 7 equals 28, 7 times 4 equals 28, 28 divided by 7 equals 4, and 28 divided by 4 equals 7. The next page we'll look at is page 283. So when we're looking at, let's look at problems 1 first. So we're doubling the numbers, so then you can see that you have some numbers times 2. Why don't you press pause and just solve problems in this number 1 section, and then press play when you're ready to check. So when we doubled 8, we got 16. When I did 2 times 4, you should have had 8. 7 times 2, you would have had 14. When you double 9, you would have 18. 2 times 1 is going to be 2, and 0 times 2 is going to be 0. Now let's look at the next part with number 2. So can you tell me, if you have 40 cents, how many nickels is that? And then divide by 5, and also think how many nickels would be 25 cents. You could also solve number 3 too, where you're thinking about 40 cents, how many dimes you have, dividing, and then how many dimes would be 90 cents. So why don't you press pause and solve problems 2 and 3, and then press play when you're ready to check. So 40 cents is going to be the same thing as having 8 nickels. And I could count by 5s up until I get to 40, and that would be counting them 8 times. If I have 5 and I'm dividing them into one equal group, I'm still going to have 5. 15 divided by 5 equals 3. And then it would take 5 nickels to equal 25 cents. 40 cents would be the same thing as having 4 dimes. So 20 divided by 10 would be 2. And 60 divided by 10 equals 6. And 9 dimes is the same thing as 90 cents. For the last part, for question 4, for each multiplication fact, give 2 division facts in the same fact family. So just like they have 2 times 6 equals 12, the division facts are 12 divided by 2 equals 6, and 12 divided by 6 equals 2. Can you press pause to solve the rest of this page, and then press play when you're ready to check? So the 2 division facts that I have for 5 times 9 equals 45 would be 45 divided by 5 equals 9, and 45 divided by 9 equals 5. Then when I have 10 times 4 equals 40, I have 40 divided by 10 equals 4, and 40 divided by 4 equals 10. With 3 times 2 equals 6, I have 6 divided by 3 equals 2, and 6 divided by 2 equals 3. With 8 times 5 equals 40, I have 40 divided by 8 equals 5, and 40 divided by 5 equals 8. And for 5 times 10 equals 50, I have 50 divided by 5 equals 10, and 50 divided by 10 equals 5. The last thing we'll talk about today are our math boxes. So if you could look at page 284. For question 1, you're subtracting the 2 problems, and then you can come up with a unit. For question 2, what is the median or the middle number in this list of numbers? For question 3, draw a line segment that's 3 centimeters long, and then draw a line segment 4 centimeters longer than the first one you drew, and then draw a third line segment twice as long as the first. So 2 times as long as that first one you drew. For question 4, you could use counters, or I made an array at the bottom, and you're going to tell me how much is 1/3 of the array, how much would be 2/7, and then what about 3/3 of my array? For question 5, complete the frame. So whenever you see that solid line, you're going to add 100. Whenever you see the dashed line, you're going to subtract 10. And the last one, number 6, find the mode, the number that occurs the most often, and choose the best answer. All right, I'll see you next time.